Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Tim Kirby Russia Weird Daytime and Not Live Stream Edition. Normally, I do a lot of live streams here on the channel, but today we're going just pure recording because I don't think there's any need to take call-ins on this issue because it's a depressing one. Why take depressing calls? Zelensky, Ukraine has two options: nuclear weapons or NATO. We choose NATO. Well, the thing is, I like the way they sort of phrased this here, or he phrased it himself, because I've heard some, let's just say, other opinions on this interesting statement. Now, what's the context behind this? Why does he say at this point in the history of the war in Ukraine that they have two options: nuclear weapons or NATO? Well, that's because Zelensky is trying to push his victory plan. Now, a lot of people who have more let's just say neutral or pro-Russian kind of views of the war and the world and all that, have sort of snarkily just dismissed that Zelensky has any plan at all, because his victory plan seems to really involve around, continuing support from the West as being sort of the key thing. He had some points that he wrote, but they're all kind of just vague. Ultimately, I'll put it this way. Zelensky's victory plan seems to just be to keep doing what they're doing and to keep requesting more and more stuff from the West, and that they need more and more support. But the question is, how much support can the West give? Has the West suffered fatigue on this issue? So on and so forth. So there really didn't seem to be anything particularly new in this victory plan, or the fact that, part of the plan is to restore the 1991 borders of Ukraine. Okay, let's just say we were a pro-Ukrainian YouTube channel here. Let's just say that. Well, then our question would be, okay, how? By what means? Because that whole massive summer counteroffensive that was supposed to do that was supposed to sort of drive into the Crimea, create this huge wedge in the Russian forces, and really shatter the Russian army. Well, it didn't even break through the first defensive line. Hey, a lot of armies have lost battles and been able to, let's just say, win wars. Russia, the Battle of Borodino. Borodino technically a loss, but did France win the war? No. So who knows? Maybe there could be the possibility of some sort of recovery. But since that failed summer counteroffensive, Ukraine has taken quite the beating. And the question is, again, what forces? The incursion into the Kursk area to some seems like a major success and maybe proof of concept that Ukraine could perhaps win back territory or something. But at present, that, let's just say, hole in the line is getting sort of plugged more and more every day. And they also sent in a lot of their more elite forces into the Kursk incursion. And that's, well, how many elite forces are they going to have left after this is over? We don't know. But essentially, with this whole victory plan concept, the question is, that all sounds, basically, it's like we want to do X, Y, and Z, but what's the method to get it done? How is this going to get it done? And the answer only seems to be vague Western support. So in that sort of context, when I listened to because Ukrainian is so close to Russian that I sort of listened to or read the translation, but listened to the original as well. Very, very similar languages in their behavior. That's probably because Russians consider Ukrainian just kind of a fake language taken from theirs. But that's up to you to decide. But anyways, listening to the original and reading a translation simultaneously, it actually sounded more like an interesting sort of gambit, a sort of manipulation tactic, as in, well, we have to win this war. We can't surrender, which I can understand from their standpoint why. Well, they remember what it looked like when the Germans lost World War II. That did not go well for the high command. So I could see how they might be a little, I don't want to say desperate. Let's just say committed to victory. And I think that could have been a threat to the West. That, if you guys don't give us the support that I've outlined in my victory plan, as in speaking from Zelensky's standpoint, in my victory plan, then you're the bad guys, and we're going to do what we have to do to win, which could involve trying to produce some sort of, at the very least, dirty bomb, or Well, I don't know how you can create a real nuclear program during the middle of a war when, let's just say, anything that gets discovered by the Russian side gets hit. Once they discover it, obviously. But then again, on the other hand, um, somehow the Ukrainians still have ammo depots the Russians haven't discovered. They somehow are able to, on occasion, use certain runways somewhere to get their planes in the sky. So who knows? Maybe they have enough time to develop a nuclear program. I am not an expert in nuclear technology, but I do know that it is quite the. It's not a compact process. It is with 21st century surveillance. It's probably not the easiest thing to hide. But who knows? They might be able to do it. But anyways, they probably have the knowledge and ability to make some sort of dirty bomb. And it looks like Zelensky actually threatened the West that, hey, we're going to bring this thing to the brink of nuclear Armageddon if you don't support me the way I want to be supported. On the one hand, that's kind of ballsy. I kind of respect that, of going from sort of like colonial shill to sort of turning the tables and saying, hey, I'll risk nuclear Armageddon to get what I want. Kind of ballsy. Okay? We don't, here at this channel, we don't have the highest respect for Mr. Zelensky, but at least that was kind of risque. An interesting move. Of course, this little snippet here says we choose NATO. Well, obviously, no modern-day politician would ever say that they choose the nuclear option first. But it's interesting. It's a threat that he made to the West, a threat that he'll go dirty bomb, and he will turn this thing into the ultimate nightmare scenario if he doesn't get what he wants. The question is, again, someone has a knife or well, it doesn't matter, a knife or a gun to your back, or who knows, a spear, it doesn't matter, some weapon, and they're like, give me all your money, and you're like, dude, I only have like $3 with me, Are they going to kill you anyways? You know what I mean? You can threaten a homeless guy. You could threaten a homeless guy's life, but you're not going to be able to get much out of him. And not to compare the West to homeless people, but in terms of their military capacity, I think certain countries, definitely like Slovakia, Cyprus, what was the other one? There was another one that also complained that they're out of reserves, that these countries really are kind of out of reserves. And I think the United States is also not super thrilled with trying to find ways to give up even more of its own arsenal, especially with the ongoing yet also upcoming conflict in the Middle East. Let's just say ongoing small conflict, upcoming big conflict in the Middle East. So, yeah, I don't think the United States here is going to be able to go through on any threats that Zelensky makes. But that's definitely interesting. And I have to say one thing, too, is, again, we have to be try to be objective and fair, is that essentially this nuclear threat, which is in some ways really a threat to the West, well, what else could he do? That's at least some creative thinking. I mean, at this point, what else really can he do? If the West is cutting funding and cutting support, and they're not going to let him use long-range missiles that will hopefully create some sort of people's uprising within Russia, which they wouldn't anyways, even if they used them. Like, what else has he got at this point? They're running out of manpower. Supposedly, they're also starting to drag women into the conflict, but I've seen some videos of female corpses, but there's not enough to really make it look like they're actually being dragged in any large numbers there, but things are falling apart. It looks like over half the country has left or is dead or hurt or whatever. You got to kind of think, you're there with Team Zelensky, and you're starting to try to get creative of how you can save this situation. And the more dire the situation gets, the more dark and potentially risky your options might be. A lot of analysts say that Zelensky now owns a lot of real estate in the West. And, when people put some sort of document that says, especially I saw one that said like he had property in Germany, that just kind of PDF documents are really easy to fake. So we don't know. But I'm actually surprised that at this point, judging by kind of his character and who this guy is, especially his one particular hobby or addiction, that he hasn't bailed on this. You know, I would have thought he would have been a long time ago sitting in some mansion somewhere, but for some reason, he's riding this thing out to the end. I don't know if that's his choice or his master's choice or something. Very weird. There's a weird dynamic to Mr. Zelensky that I just don't understand. How, on the one hand, you can be part of this society-crushing mega corruption, but also at the same time then threaten some sort of weird dirty bomb nuclear escalation to get what you want, to fight the war, and in theory, I guess, win it. See, I don't know. Very, very weird, very contradictory. Who knows? But hey, as the late great Rick James said, cocaine is a hell of a drug. Anyways, Tim Kirby, Russia, signing out.